Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the McFluff story. It's Carrots here, and we're back with Gertie and her 15 cats. Here's Gertie, reminder of her traits. She wants to be a cat herder. We've still got to befriend those cats. But today we're going to be meeting the Sculptors. They have actually arrived. They're in the house. 3 of them are necessary to make all those sculptures. 2 of them are only here for entertainment value. That's some of the ice sculptures they've made. The first one we're going to meet is Marge. She's a young adult, natural cook, savvy sculptor, handy, friendly, green thumb, bottomless nectar seller, unemployed, and partner is none. I don't think we're going to work towards her lifetime wish. Next one's Fred. He is a young adult, trait, savvy sculptor, handy, green thumb, brave, and genius. He wants to become a creature-robot crossbreeder. And this is June. She's here purely for entertainment value. Her traits are cat person, bot fan, mean-spirited, evil, and grumpy. She's very entertaining when her sculptures explode. And we've got Maureen, who's another one of our essential members. Her traits are savvy sculptor, party animal, photographer's eye, artistic, charismatic, and she wants a world-class gallery. She got into that sculpting autonomously. Now Stan Steptoe, he's here for entertainment value. His traits are animal lover, insane, savvy sculptor, inappropriate and friendly. Now, although June and Sam are there for entertainment value only, they are very good sculptors, and they could easily have been one of the 3, except the 3 there were just the 3 I chose. I have removed all the sculpting skill from June in the hope that she'll have a few failures, and we'll see her reacting to them. A few months ago I had several households full, overstuffed households full of sculptors, because I was on a quest to discover all of the sculptors, because I wanted to know how many there were. Turns out there's about 94, I think, around about that number anyway, sculptures that they can make. And I discovered that they could make quite a lot of furniture out of ice. So I decided that I wanted a house that has been decorated with ice furniture. Now there was one household were the Martins, and Fred's the only one out of that household that made it into my final 3. And the Murrays. I've got 2 sisters from the Murrays, that's Marge and Maureen. Plus there were several other households that I used, and they all became level 10 sculptors, but I wanted to have the least number possible who between them could manage to make all of the possible sculptures. And the only one that nobody made for me was Sleeping Gnome McNulty. So I might have to use a mod to turn him into ice. These are the 2 sisters. That's Maureen, we can see her face, and Marge has got her back to us. I think Marge was only able to make one sculpture that the other 2 couldn't make. And that's how she managed to get included, because I think she was the only sim that I had out of all of those dozens of sims who could actually do that particular sculpture. That's Gertie. She's off catching fireflies. It's very dark. She's only in her own backyard, so she hasn't gone far. This is just a view of the city. I added that apartment block in the middle there. It's from late night, and I put it there because I wanted somewhere for the homeless sims to go. Because there's one that I think I'd like to track down, but I'm not too sure if it's this game or another game. Not to worry. That's a good view of the city at night. Hidden Springs is the world. That taxi was just delivering an uninvited guest. This chap seems to turn up quite often. Hang around. Maybe he likes cats. We won't be doing much with the cats in this episode. It's mostly been about the sculptures. I've still got to get Gertie to befriend all of those cats. But in this episode, she is doing a bit of sculpting and inventing. So this guy just sat down at the front with his laptop. I figured he decided that he didn't want to just stand around waiting for somebody to come and answer the door. The cats weren't very exciting to chat with, so he's using his laptop. So there's a few shredded newspapers there on the ground. Cats obviously have been into them. Oh, so there is Marge. She has got up. I think she's had enough sleep. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning by this time. She's in her nightwear. Maybe she'll change, maybe she won't. So she's going to go and have a play with the cat. So what's he standing up for? Hearts for Marge. Uh-oh, here is Sam Steptoe. This is mainly just to show you some of the decor. See all the herbs that I've hung in the stairwell. You can see them through those windows. This is one of the sculpting floors. I don't think I'll be able to get the camera in there to really show you all of that. But I put the walls down and got a screenshot to show you. This is another level, and now he's gone down to the ground level. The garden is really well planted. There's only 2 items planted. They're both Mycenae mushrooms, and they're planted because Gertie bought some from the Humble Harvest stand at the greenhouse, Stone's Throw greenhouse, and she planted them. That was the cat gnome standing there before. Yeah, so the house needed cleaning up, so Gertie dealt with that. Restoration ritual. Marge is having breakfast, and Maureen's planning to have breakfast. She's hungry anyway, whether she eats or not, so problem. Sam's going to eat. He looks a bit different when he's not in his everyday outfit. He's got that red hair, we'll certainly recognise him. He likes Marge as well. There's pink hearts between them. At least she's changed into her everyday outfit. She's ready to go downstairs and do some sculpting. Now down on the sculpting level, these 2 clay sculptures were made by June. Now although I've set her sculpting skill back to 0, she still has completed all the challenges, and she's still done hundreds of various types of sculptures. She's made over 100,000 simoleons just from the sale of her sculptures, and that's all still there. So I'm not sure if she's going to have the reactions that I was hoping for, and I don't think I've got a version of her without, from before she started sculpting. If this doesn't work, I'll have to try to look for one, because she was a lot of fun watching her in progress as she was first learning to sculpt. We'll see what happens when she starts working with stone and metal. Now this is Maureen. She's making furniture. At this point, I have allowed her to just make whatever she feels like making, but she can make whatever I ask her to make, and I might start asking her to make specific sculptures, but that probably won't happen until the next episode, because we're not going to watch them sculpt all day today. I probably won't keep the clay sculptures, but the ice, stone and metal sculptures will be used in various parts of the house here. And with the ice, I'll be able to start experimenting with the coloured lights, and you'll see a bit of that in this episode. Of course, there is a downside to all this beautiful icy furniture, because whenever a sim is sitting on an icy chair or something, they get the chilly moodlet from sitting on ice. Brrr, my skin is colder than a polar bear's paws. It lasts for 2 hours, and it's worth minus 15 points. So your lifetime happiness goes down from being cold. I'm not sure if there's any environment points, so it's a good idea to perhaps have a lot of pretty pictures and plants around so that they can have some positive environment to balance out the minus 15 from getting chilled from sitting on the ice. So that's a pretty chair she's just finished making there. Now while Maureen has been sculpting in ice, June has been working at her sculptures on another row of sculpting stations on the same level of the building. And she's made herself a table already out of wood, I think, and now, or it could be clay, I'll just check later. And now she's making something out of wood. Clay and wood are fairly safe things for Sims to use to sculpt from. But when she moves on to stone, she can't do stone just yet, her sculpting skill isn't high enough. But when she moves on to stone, there'll be quite a few failures. And that's when I'm hoping to see her reactions. I was actually laughing at some of her antics. She gets so upset. Randomly, the stone blocks have a flaw and they will shatter at any stage during the sculpting process. She gets a bit upset, like she is now with her hunger. I'm wondering if it might be the grumpy trait, because I've had Sims with evil and mean-spirited and they don't carry on like she does. Not that I have very many of them sculpting. This is a nice looking table that Maureen's making. Looks like June's gone off to get something to eat. I think that's a base game table. There's only furniture and things or items that they make are from the base game World Adventures and Ambitions. Anything else that I want in ice to place in their home, I will have to use NRAS's Debug Enable Sculptify mod. The mod is Debug Enabler and the menu choice is Sculptify, and then choose ice. So if anything else that's not from one of those three expansion packs, I'll have to use a mod to turn those things into ice. So we've got Fred there on the right. He is using metal. They can catch on fire with metal, with sculpting in metal, but I've noticed that the first thing that they do, they can catch on fire straight away. Once they get started, they seem to be safe. So Gertie's doing one of her topiaries. She hasn't got a very high sculpting skill yet, but I mostly want her inventing at the moment. So once she's done this penguin, I will get her onto inventing. Not that she gets very far with it in this episode, unfortunately, but I want her to make a time machine because I want to use it as a part of the story. I could go and buy one from it, either by Debug or from one of the consignment stores, but I think I'd prefer to get Gertie to learn how to make it herself. Of course, if the Sculptors are still here and after 3 episodes and she hasn't made a time machine yet, I might have to stoop to getting out of by Debug. Marge is working in stone. She's hungry, so she's going to leave her sculpture partly done. Fred's making some good progress there. I've no idea what Sam's up to. We'll have to check him out shortly. On the bottom left of the screen is a magic gnome. It's the cat magic gnome. This is the first game I've ever had a cat magic gnome. I suppose it took me 15 cats to get it. So there's a couple of the lady Sims. I think it's June and Maureen having a sleep in their bedroom. There's another bed at the bottom of the screen there which we didn't see. And Fred's gone to have a sleep as well, so Sam is around somewhere. Marge is working on her ice sculptures here. I haven't yet told them what to sculpt. All of them are just sculpting whatever they feel like, with the exception, as occasionally I have said, to sculpt in ice or topiary. And might have even told someone to sculpt in metal at some stage, but mostly even their choice of materials, I'm just letting them do it autonomously for now, because this is their first day in the game, and that's the first day in the household. They seem to enjoy this because this is mostly all their autonomous activities that I'm doing with this video. It's a nice little end table she made there. I didn't even see her making that. I know from previous games where I've had sculpting, anytime there have been end tables or small tables made, usually all the magic gnomes in the household want to all crowd around on the one table, and I've had quite often 2 gnomes at a table, and they just seem to rotate through that table all through the game. Every time I go there, I always check out what gnomes are on the table now, because there's usually a different gnomes and a different arrangement. But we've only got 1 magic gnome in this game, so there's either going to be none or 1 at this point. And so she's making a pedestal. That mirror in the background, I just put that there for decoration. Thought it'd be nice to have. It's actually custom content made by Luna. And the painting of the boat is from Sim Picasso. I'll tell you who made things if I know. A lot of things I've got, I have no clue where I got them from. All of the Sims are wearing custom content skins. They've either usually got KE Primer, Starfruit, or E-Skin Natural. I don't have the details of which Sim's got which skin. So she's, obviously I have told her to sculpt in ice in a queue. Now, I happen to know that Sam had to go, and he had an opportunity to go and perform a cameo role in something, might have been a play, I think, or a video. And June had to go and deliver a cheque to the school. I thought they were being brave to let her in there, being evil, grumpy, and mean-spirited. But she seemed quite happy to be heading over to the school. So that's the school in Hidden Springs. Back home, Gertie's playing with one of her cats. I haven't yet concentrated on getting her to befriend the cats. I did it before in the game and it took no time. So perhaps maybe, I don't know that I'll let you even get you to watch it, because all she did, she's just got to play with all 15 cats and be friends with all of them at the same time. Because when I let her friendship from one cat drop, well then the number that she had to be friends with went down as well. So it's more than just befriend 15 cats, it's befriend and remain friends with 15 cats, and still be friends with 15 cats at the same time before the badge gets awarded, or before she gets the lifetime wish. Now, that water is because one of the bathrooms broke, and Fred is in there fixing it. That's why the door's shut. He is a handy sim, and he had a wish to learn the handiness skill, and I was going to send him on training, but he seems to have got his wish granted by fixing the all-in-one toilet. Gertie ran out of scrap, so I just bought some from the sculpting station. I don't want to send her out searching for scrap at this point, but she probably will at some stage. Found where Sam went, followed him downstairs, and he went to do some workouts on the exercise equipment. I was thinking about getting a sim to do something down here at one point, but I hadn't got ready to do that yet. But since he's doing it anyway, we might as well just watch. This is where I'm going to be doing a fair bit of decorating. I've already put in the bar and a few other things from the Ice Lounge set. The ice that set uses isn't quite as nice as the ice that they make when they go sculpting, and I still haven't experimented with it and the coloured lights. So Maureen's got back to work and she's sculpting in metal. They all seem to want to sculpt the same thing, so I think next time she does some sculpting in metal, I will get her to... I'll choose a particular sculpture for her to do. There's only 4, and they keep doing the same one over and over again. I think they've got about 3 or 4 of these ones already. I just got her to finish that ice sculpture off because it wasn't quite finished. Of course, all of them have done enough sculpting to be able to sculpt in ice, and the ice won't melt. That also includes June, because although I dropped her sculpting skill back down to 0, she still has all the other challenges completed, and that includes the number of ice sculptures she's already done. So I think Gertie's the only one who hasn't done enough ice sculptures yet, and she'll be sculpting in ice for a while before she can make ice sculptures that don't melt, but she won't be doing that till after she's made a time machine. Yeah, I've got so many of these particular metal sculptures in the household that these Sims came from that I think we can have a whole army of them all around the lot in Cake Island when we get to Cake Island. Of course, I'm planning to try to use the sculptures I've already done rather than to sit through them making all those sculptures again. So I'll just dump a whole lot of them from their household into the final household when we get to Cake Island. Now, although we're not actually focusing on the cats in this episode, they're certainly making their presence felt. They're very vocal and they're throwing things around and playing together and just being cats. Of course, I've got no idea if any of them have gone off on their own adventures because I haven't been watching them this episode. This is just about the Sculptors and Gertie. They're all humans except for Gertie, and Gertie is a witch. But the 5 Sculptors are all human. They don't have any occult type at all. I think Maureen's starting to get a bit tired, but I want her to finish this sculpture. I'm waiting to see what it is. I know it's different from the one she's got, that she's just finished. The other 2, June and Marge, are both still sleeping, but they're going to be getting up soon. You'll see them walk past in a few seconds, and they'll be heading off upstairs to have some breakfast, ready to start their second day at home at the McFluff household. I think this big ice sculpture in the front here is just some sort of a sculpture. It's a decor item, it's not a piece of furniture. I don't think it actually has any useful purpose other than something interesting to look at. Might be fun to light though. I thought it might have been a column. There goes June and Marge, and now Maureen's about to decide that she is just too tired to continue. So I think we're going to have to wait till next episode to see what that sculpture is. She's going to sleep on her feet. I know how she feels. That's how I was all day yesterday. It was painful. This is her deciding autonomously that it's time to go to bed. There she knows. She knows where her bed is. She can only get into one room that's got beds in it. And there she goes. That should be her bed right in front of her, but she could probably get into one of the other beds that the other 2 were using. Oh, here comes somebody else, says Fred. He's just finished his sleep and he's coming out as well, ready to start a new day. But he sculpts on a different level. He's downstairs. So there is Marge and Gertie having breakfast together. Looks like a pile of sandwiches, probably peanut and jelly or whatever. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I suppose. The door keeps opening and shutting all the time for the cats to come in and out. Although I've kept the colours the same, the fridge and the stove and the sink have all been replaced by better quality than what was in the house to start with. So Gertie's decided she's not going to wash a plate after all. So June's having a chat to their eternal visitor. He's one of the townie Sims, he just keeps turning up. Oh look, there is the cat sitting on the table. So what I said to you earlier about magic gnomes that get onto tables that have been sculpted, that table's still on the sculpting station. You couldn't put it there yourself. Fred's decided he's going to go and play a bit of icy chess. He's undoubtedly got the chilled moodlet, but he's enjoying his chess game, and there's quite a lot of decor around him, so it won't matter if he gets -15 for 2 hours with a chilly moodlet from sitting on ice. Brrr, my skin is colder than a polar bear's paws. I think we're actually getting very close to the end of this video, but as you can see there with the lights, I've actually got some red lights placed around that table and chairs. Only 2 of them, one behind Fred and one in front of Fred. And later on I'm going to put blue lights on the table and chairs that are at the front of the picture that aren't lit by coloured lights yet. So that's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. Happy simming. It's bye bye for now.